Okay, so if you will see in my previous video, I took buys on Nasdaq, and that didn't really work out too well. So if you want to see more about that, you can go and check that video out. But also today, which is the same which is the same day that I took the Nasdaq trade, I was also analyzing the S&P 500, and although I didn't actually take a trade on uh, this, I still want to take you guys through my thought process and how I actually analyzed for the day. So if we go into it, we can see we have a 4-hour resistance zone right over here. You can see we have this 4-hour resistance zone over there, and we can see price pushed all the way up into it, right? And we can also see around this resistance zone, price actually struggled, as we can see over there, to actually break it, as we can see with all these 4-hour candle wicks, right? So we can see that overall on the 4-hour, we can see that overall on the 4-hour, since market open on Sunday night, we can see that we have been bullish right up until this point, in which we retested this 4-hour resistance zone, right? So although we were technically bullish since Sunday night open, and once again, let me just reiterate, price was struggling to break out of that 4-hour resistance zone. Like I said, you can see with all the wicks in that area, which showed me coming into today that bullish momentum was fading off in the meantime, right? So going into the day, I was actually looking, or I would have actually looked for sales, and I will get into the reason why I would have actually looked for sales. So first of all, with this candle over here, let me just do this. So this candle over here, right? This was a 4-hour candle. We can see, find this thing, this vertical line. Just place this vertical line here. We can see that this 4-hour candle opened at 12 o'clock. Right? So we can see that that this 4-hour candle opened at 12 o'clock. And it would have closed at 2 o'clock, right? Which is about an hour and a half before New York session opens, right? So with that being said, pre-market or pre-New York session, we can see how this candle closed. Just look how it closed. Just look how it closed. You can see over there that big wick to the downside. It rejected from that 4-hour resistance once again, and a massive wick to the downside, right? Which shows me that buyers are still once again not able to push price above that resistance zone, right? Hence my reason for looking for sales, right? So now going into New York session open, and just mark out New York session open over here. It's 3 o'clock. There we go. So going into New York session open, right, which is this hourly candle over here, this bearish hourly candle over there. So we can see once again we had a big bearish candle, but without paying attention to that, just look at what happened over here, right? We have New York session over there, New York session open, New York session open, right? So I also want to mark out London session, right? Let's check this out. You can see with this 3 o'clock candle over here, what happens. What happens with this 3 o'clock candle over here? Let me just move it so you can see it. Just move it one over. Just look at this. What does it do? Bam, comes up and sweeps out London session high. That's 3 o'clock candle. Let me move it back over here so that you can see. The 3 o'clock candle came up. We have London session high right over here. Right over with this, not this candle. Right over there. London session high. Bam, gets swept. Just as New York session opens, sweeps out New York session, London session, sorry, sweeps out London session highs, and that is another indicator. And then it sweeps it out, and then we can see how the 3 o'clock candle closed. Look how it closed, with a big bearish candle to the downside. So once again, it's telling me bulls are not able to push price above the resistance zone. Bulls are losing momentum. Bullish momentum is fading. The bears are now starting to step in and starting to push price to the downside. So remember what I said, we had that 4-hour candle and the way it closed with a big wick to the downside, right? With this big wick to the downside over here. Thus, right over there. That candle, right? That was one confluence that I used, right? Then the second one, what was it? When New York session opened, swept out London session highs, swept it out. Then what happened? We had a big, the way the 3 o'clock candle closed, big bearish candle to the downside, right? That's another confluence, the liquidity sweep of those London session highs. That's confluence number 2. Then also, what happens? So what happens next? You can see when the same 1-hour candle closes, you can see when that same 1-hour candle closes, what also happens? Look at this. Pretty straightforward. What happens? Bam. What happens? 1-hour breaker structure to the downside. Look at this. We had the low there. We had a push up over there. A bullish push up. And then with this candlestick over here, we broke 1 hour structure to the downside. So yet again, that's telling me, once again, bullish momentum is fading. Once again, bears are stepping in, right? So that's already 3 confluences for me. And if I would have wanted, just an extra confluence, just the extra confluence to be to be sure, we could have looked for maybe a fair value gap or something. So let's just see if we would have been able to find a fair value gap. Doesn't look like we would have been able to find a fair value gap, but if we can see here on the 15-minute, we also have, where's this thing? We also have, what do we have here? A little support zone over there, just a little support zone over there, right? Just a little mini support zone over here. Then what happens? after we get the 1 hour break of structure to the downside, after we get the 1 hour liquidity sweep of those London highs, and then the 1 hour break of structure to the downside, we also have then, you can see price broke this 15-minute little support zone over there. So what happens? Price breaks it and then retests it. What does it do? Price breaks the 15-minute support zone, then immediately it retraces into it with a retest, right? Then what do we get? We get a reaction candle off of it. This, bam, this 15-minute bearish candle over here now again. So once again, price with this big bearish 15-minute candle over here, this one over here, what does price do? Price breaks the 15-minute support zone. It immediately retraces upwards to retest the 15-minute support zone, and then we get a reaction candle off of it with this candle over here, with this 15-minute bearish candle over here. Get the reaction off it, and that 15-minute candle closes back below it. So now what we are in business. So what I could have done was, since we had that break, retest, and the reaction candle off of it, I could have, it closed over here, could have done this, small over here, could have done this, and then I could have targeted all of this right here, this right there, could have put my stop loss just above, just a little above that 15-minute support zone, which became resistance, and then I could have targeted this actually daily support zone over there. Let's just go on the 4 hour. Could have targeted that over there, and essentially, because the reason why I would have targeted that is because look over here, we still have the gap over there from Sunday market open. So we still had a gap over there. Market did not fill it. I could have targeted that gap as my final TP. So it would have been essentially a nice 1:5 risk to reward ratio, which would have been excellent. And I'm actually mad at myself that I didn't actually take the time to actually look into this trade setup. And I'm actually even more mad that I didn't actually take the trade, because I could have made a lot of money off of this trade, and it was a perfect setup, perfect entry. It could have, and look, price just melted to the downside. So I'm a little bummed that I didn't take the trade. But the reason why I didn't take the trade is because I already took a loss on that Nasdaq trade from my previous video. So I didn't want to risk losing another trade. Hence I was just out and done for the day, and I was ready to trade tomorrow. But I'm a little bit bummed that I didn't catch this good 1:5 risk to reward ratio, but it is what it is. And yeah, just wanted to take you guys through how I actually done my analysis.